Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at Algorand. So one of my favourites for the long-term positions, but on a short-term time frame, it's actually done something quite interesting. I'll present this to you now. So just before we do that, just let you know that Algo is one of my biggest hodls for moving into this next bull market. I bought only two coins on since Bitcoin crashed down into the 17,000s, being Chainlink and Algorand, with both of them having long-term projections on them for at least 2 or 3 years worth of hodling and staking, specifically for Algo staking, because my dream would be that Algo reclaims $2 and remains above $2, and it could give me what I would consider to be passive income, keeping me warm in my bed just from the staking rewards. It would be very tempting, obviously, to sell it all at I wish, sometimes the temptation would be too great because it'd be a hell of a profit. Anyway, so what we're looking at here, there's two things. The first of all, are very boring but pretty simple and easy to see. A symmetrical triangle breakout formation. So we got that here. We can see that we've broken out. That's bullish and we're above all major moving averages. We recognise that this is just a 4-hourly, but it is a 4-hourly breakout of a symmetrical triangle. And that was in an appropriate area. We normally look at this to break sooner than about 70% of the way through. We don't want to make it to the end of the apex and then have some kind of move. So relatively convincing that we've broken out around that level. We're trending above all major moving averages apart from the 200, which is around 30, and the 200 simple, which is about 32 to 33. But the more interesting signal that we've got here is the trend continuation signal on the 4-hourly. So there's 3 components to this, the way that you play this itchy cloud. We've got the cross, so your blue cross to red, that's your conversion baseline. We've got the price, which is above the cloud, and we've also got the Chiku span, which is floating above the price. So this is there's only 3 things we need to play this form of the itchy cloud, and we've got it now. And so this would suggest a trend will form, or it has already formed. Basically, you never get in at the bottom of the trend, and you won't get out at the top. But it's told you that there's a trend in play here. Provided that the Chiku span doesn't close back within the price action, this should just float onwards and upwards now. So we've got the symmetrical triangle breakout. We've also got the trend continuation signal. So if we'll just quickly look at this on some of the higher term time frames to see if there's anything convincing about this. So we've reclaimed on the 12-hourly the 21 exponential. Just have a look at the momentum and how that's looking on here. Looking quite good, I have to say. It's not looking bad. It's all pointing to further up. Upside, we've got the 50 exponential 31. 200 simple 33 and 200 exponential pointing up to around 38.5. That's good. Not saying any of these necessarily need to be tagged. Up here we've got 50 to 56. That's quite a lot. Fresh tick on the histogram as of today, so we want to see this closure take place today. That's not written in stone. That could all get wiped out if the market takes a tumble and Algo comes down with it. We've reclaimed this the 10 exponential on the daily as well, which is a good little sign. You haven't got this taking place in things like Bitcoin, and it's getting rejected from its 200 from its 10 exponential. So it's got the upper hand in compared to Bitcoin at least, but it's not going to be completely isolated from the market if the market takes a tumble. With the 50 exponential would be a target here for 32, so we're only looking for small targets. Again, it is a 4-hourly signal that we've got there, so nothing special. 46 for your 50 exponential over here. So if you think about this on a longer term time frame, we had this giant descending triangle, and this is the negative that you can take away from this. So giant descending triangle, pretty messy, but giant, very large, coming down to this major horizontal, which has been backed up through its entire life, really, back down to effectively square one, really. And the buyers will likely think about stepping in at these levels, but they don't necessarily have to, because if we zoom in a little closer to what it actually looks like around here, it is a bit messy. We are above it, we're below it, but there's more hits than no hits at this specific level, and this is more or less where that started to form, around 25 to 26 cents. So there is a chance that we do come down there, and this would be a different setup altogether. If you're looking to buy into Algorand for the long-term time frames, we could think about dollar cost averaging into it from 25 down to 20 cents. But the takeaway from the longer term time frames is that this is a terrible looking chart terrible looking chart basically, that's got to the end of the apex on a giant descending triangle and crept out. So that's normally the sign of a fake out anyway on the longer term time frame. So I expect lower prices with Bitcoin, so that's lower prices with the market. So despite the 4-hourly signal we've got there, I think if Bitcoin decides that it wants to pull back to a much larger extent, which I think it's going to do, the 4-hourly setup that we've got here on Algorand is just going to be a non-event really. You might see pumping until the moment that the market pulls back, then that's it. It'll be cancel everything out. You know, one chart cannot usually break away from an entire market, which from what we saw on the live stream last night, lots of these charts, these top cap altcoins, including Bitcoin, all have a short signal, like a dumpy signal on the Itchy Cloud as well. So, and they're on a daily, so they are all going to definitely have way more power than a 4-hourly trend signal on the Algorand. So yeah, I mean the longer term time frames do point further down. So if it's something that you want or something that you're interested in buying for a long term position that you can buy, hold and stake, then that's fine, and start to scale in maybe from 25 down to 20 and below. I'm not really concerned about Algorand's future. They are one of the more professional teams out there, led by, probably from what I can understand, one of the most skilled blockchain engineers out there, and they're like a jack of all trades as well. They can succeed in multiple areas because they've branched out into so many different portions of blockchain use. So it is what it is. The longer term time frames do point further down because that's dictated by the overall market, but the 4-hourly has definitely done a breakout now, and we'd be looking for this to have continuation. As for where it goes, you would basically, if you want to play this signal, normally all you would do would be waiting for the cheeky spend to touch the price action to get out, because it'll tell you to get out, or the conversion baseline to make a negative cross. So you get your entry point at this level where we got these components all matched on the chart, and your exit point will be given to you when it takes place in the negative way. But as we are looking down the barrel of a gun with the market basically really looking like it wants to make a new low for Bitcoin and take the rest of the market with it, it might just be a little too risky to wait for the exit signal on the 4-hourly here, because I would imagine that despite this chart having this setup, it will be completely null and void when the market decides to pull back. So even if you are looking to make a trade based on these setups and signals, monitor the market as well as Algorand's chart. So if this was in a bull market, you'd be quite pleased with it. You'll probably be targeting 20 to 50% on something like this, but it's not. And so unfortunately, as good as this setup is, it's a little concerning. So anyway, I'm a big Algorand hodl master. It's one of the biggest coins I've got, really, one of the biggest stacks I've got. It's one of the only 2 coins that I bought for a long-term projection since Bitcoin did that big crash. So I took the opportunity to buy Algorand and Chainlink, on when Bitcoin moved below 18,000. And I said very clearly to everybody that this is for a long-term position. These are acceptable levels for me to buy and hold for a period of years. I stand by that, really. I stand by that. But as we've seen on the longer-term time frames, 25 to 20 cents still definitely on the table, and I'd probably say almost guaranteed, to be honest, with the way that the market looks. And they also are very acceptable levels for me to scale back in again, to an even greater extent for Algorand. Because my projection is going to be a new all-time high for this over a period of years. So if I can stack and stake from now until then, I'll be getting a 10x just from what I've bought in the first place, maybe even more. And if I do get a 10x, all my stake and rewards get 10x too. So that 6% is more like 60%. Anyway, I'm going to leave it with you there. It's a long enough video on something like this. I hope you have a nice day, good weekend, and take it easy.